Getting better, it's a mountain. Over the last weeks, we've been looking at a very common golfing situation, which is that round waiting to come out. Well, I've decided that I'm not just interested in that, the occasional round to come out once or twice a year. I want that round that's waiting to come out to be the new norm. But in taking on that wish and that hope and that vision, I've realized that the best metaphor to describe this is a mountain, a demanding mountain to climb. And I've got to that through working with two world-class experts in integrated movement and to the changes that I need to make. Now, these people are not golfers, but they're got some superb wisdom and insight and practices in relation to integrated movement under pressure. It's the initial Alexander technique that I've mentioned before. Now, in relation to myself, I've worked out that though I've gone from 12 to 6 handicap, as I re-engage with a game that had essentially fallen apart because I just couldn't give it any time. And I've worked out that I need to make 30 fundamental changes in use of body. There's probably also 10 more moves that I've been making but have forgotten about, and there's probably 10 more that I need to make. And so for many of you, you may say, I'm out of here. And that's fine. Because if you're not willing to put the work in, you can go back to the tips approach. And God knows, you've only to turn on your feeds, and there are thousands of them. But I've tried that for a while, and it just simply doesn't work. So what I'm been looking at is the serious changes, and as I said, it's about climbing a mountain of work, really. I've got to change my posture. The unity line in relation to gravity was a series of compensations. My axis of rotation, golf's a rotational thing, that has to change. And also the fundamental whole approach was I needed to switch, like Nick Faldo did in the 1980s, from an arms-led swing to a posture-led swing. And these changes, it's not enough to do them in what we call the purple zone, which is movement away from the course or the practice ground. But by the way, these movements that you make in the everyday away from the course, you do bring to the practice ground and you do bring to the course. So it's not enough to make them in the purple zone. It's not enough to make them in the grey zone, which is the practice ground or the driving range. It's not enough to make them just in a friendly game. You've got to make them under pressure. So these new approaches, these new methods need to be so internalized that they become the habitual. That this is how you play when it matters most and under pressure. So that may seem horrifically demanding. And as I say, if you're not in for what's involved, it's fine. There are other ways of getting there. The whole systems approach believes in a concept called equifinality, that the same end can be reached by a variety of different courses. So there are many ways of getting there, but this is just one. And what we've done with the Better Game Golf approach that combines the golfing body mind and Alexander Golf is we've broken it down into 5 body maps. So all the changes that are needed. This is the movements that are involved in the rotation of the body. have been broken down into 5 body maps. And you can map the directions and the things, the inhibitions, the things you've got to stop. We've mapped the directions that are needed at each stage. And there are multiple directions, because it's all about antagonistic pulls. It's about something moving this way and that way, or something staying still while another moves, or something moving that way while something moves that way. That's what is involved. And you can learn and internalize the directions, and you can do them until they become the new habitual. And also give instructions, it's called inhibition, to stop the old habitual. And what's also important is having a kind of model of good movement, what's called positions of mechanical advantage, where body, posture and joints and muscles are aligned in a particular positions of mechanical advantage. There's also, as we've covered, the methodology. So, and there are also metaphors that can help speed it up, integrating metaphors. So there is a way through, but it's tough. And one of the things you learn from systems theory is the concept of false start. So if I want to go from there to there, what you learn from systems theory is some of the time you've got to be prepared for things to get worse. It's called, in systems thinking, the concept of false start. Things getting worse before they can get better. There's also, from the world of mythology, some of you may know Joseph Campbell's work, there's a concept called the dark night. The dark night of the soul, the dark night where everything feels like everything's falling apart, like Princess Leia in that horrible sort of pit of iron and steel in Star Wars before she was rescued. So that is the dark night of the soul. So that is part of the journey. That is part of climbing the mountain. But the rewards are that on the way you will get glimpses of what's possible. And it's not just a compensatory, okay outcome. It's glimpses of potential. But there'll also be times when things are worse. And it's having the will to press through those to get to a situation where the change is the new habitual. And that golfer that you're waiting for the round to come out has become the new norm. And that is what this journey is all about. But it is a mountain, but there are huge satisfactions from climbing that mountain.